joining us from the mountains of Napa, California. He is Maurice Jones-Drew. How are you, MJD?
Rich, how are you? Sorry about that. I was trying to, in order for me to get to Napa, I got to cut through some mountains.
Okay.
So
now you're there.
I got through them, though, so I'm in Napa now.
It's all good. Are you bringing socks and slippers and boots to Antonio Brown for his cryotherapy, MJD? Are you bringing those?
Yeah, so I read the story, and we know Antonio Brown's like a workout warrior.
Yes.
Takes care of himself. And I figured he was trying something new because he's always about, figuring out a way to push himself further and recovering better. But no, I'm not bringing socks, boots, or anything. That looked nasty. So
this has got to
I'm gonna let him take care of that on his own.
Where does this rank? I mean, I can't believe that and I'm sure the Raiders must be losing their minds too, because there really is I don't think there's any sort of measuring stick or precedence to figure out when somebody comes back from frostbite in August, right?
Yeah, right. Like I don't know. So yesterday I was trying to get a gauge for it. He's truly missed there, I can tell you that much. But I think this is an opportunity for a lot of other people. But yeah, they're frustrated right now because they only got a taste of what he could do in OTAs and they loved it, and they're like, we need him back out here as soon as possible. But I guess he came out a couple, earlier in the week or last week and did 2 really good days, but then his feet started to mess up on him again. So we'll kind of see. I'll dig around a little bit, and I'll text you and kind of give you a heads up so you can talk on your show tomorrow about it.
There you go. I really appreciate that. And so what are you looking for? We got 11 games tonight. What are you looking forward to seeing in week 1 of the preseason? I'll just throw that out in general to you.
Well, I think, one, we get to see, obviously, the young quarterbacks that have been drafted, at least most of them, right? We saw Drew Lock on Hall of Fame night. He was a little skittish, but we kind of were expecting that, obviously, from Coach Fangio's deal. But to see Kyler Murray perform, to see Duke, the quarterback from Duke, Daniel Jones perform, to get an opportunity to see Haskins perform as well, all those places are going to be places that I'm excited to see people perform, and this is how they play. Really, to me, we know this is a quarterback-driven league, so I want to make sure these young quarterbacks that are coming in there, can you carry the load of these teams? So we'll see from there.
And of course, we'll see who is playing and who is not. Is Todd Gurley playing in the first preseason game for the Rams?
Yeah, I don't think Todd Gurley's going to play in any preseason games.
We were joking.
He didn't do it last year.
I know you were in the hills. You were in the hills getting to reception. Chris and Brockman and I were talking. If you would answer that question with laughter or with an actual real response,
Right. Also, this is funny. I'm about to get checked right now for my parking passes. I'm pulling up to the hotel right now.
Okay, make sure you do that. Let's Maurice Jones-Drew. His face. Say your face is your identification, Maurice. See how that works.
Yeah, cool. So check in and then you can find parking.
Okay, thank you.
And it's to the right.
Okay, thank you.
There you go.
See?
That's part of
Look
the
at
coverage. That is inside training camp, big time right there. I'll tell you that. Tell me about Darryl. What is going on with Gurley? Come on now. I can't get a straight what's happening with him?
There's nothing going on with Gurley. He looks phenomenal out here. He's running well, cutting. He's doing everything. Again, a lot of this it's just called like contract maintenance. If I pay someone, X amount of dollars, I want him to fulfill his whole contract. I don't want to just get half of the contract. I just don't want to get a third of the contract. I want to make sure that we get all the years and all the money that we put into him. And so for Todd, going out and getting Darrell Henderson, the plan they put him on this year, it's all about preserving him for the marathon of the season.
Yes.
And that's important because we saw last year he started getting a ton of carries, and then Malcolm Brown goes down, who was the spell guy, and then all of a sudden there is no second back. They only kept 2 backs up the whole time. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it works out, but I think it's going to be for the betterment of Todd Gurley and his longevity.
No, there's no doubt about that. It's just that, there was no contract management required in January. So, and I know he ran roughshod all over the Cowboys, but we just saw way too much of somebody other than Todd Gurley, and certainly in an NFC championship game where things weren't working out. So how much are we going to see 60%, 50%, half of the carries that Gurley had all season long? And, yeah, this is a lot to do with what people are thinking about with their fantasy football. But
Yeah.
but what Gurley are we going to see, Maurice?
I think Gurley's going to get the same carries and the same touches. Personally, that's what I'm hearing. I just think the plays where Todd was on the field and he wasn't touching the ball, they're going to try to use Darrell Henderson and Malcolm Brown more for that. So I still think he carries the ball 280, 300 times, but all those extra plays that he was just on the field and not being able to, they weren't able to like get him. I'm trying to explain, so the plays where he was pass blocking, there's no reason for him to be in there. We can put someone else in there for that. And I still think he's going to get utilized the way because this offense runs through Todd Gurley. Now, you're going to talk about the championship game, the NFC championship game. He just woke up on the wrong side of the bed, to be honest with you, and had a bad game. And so in that type of game, Coach McVay pulled him, understanding that, hey, this is an important game. He's having a bad game. He dropped the pass that led to a pick. He really wasn't running like we saw. So they went with C.J. Anderson, who really didn't run that well either in the NFC Championship game. When you get to the Super Bowl, it's about the same way. I think Todd had a couple good runs, but it wasn't consistent enough for McVay, and so he wanted to go out and try to open the running game up by throwing the ball first. So that's that's kind of how it was.
Maurice Jones-Drew here on the Rich Eisen Show, and Gurley looms over the entire running back scene right now because of his contract. And we're seeing two guys sitting out, one in Cabo, one where I don't know where Melvin Gordon is. What advice would you give to Melvin Gordon right now? Because Zeke's situation and Gordon's are different, and they're different from Le'Veon Bell's was last year.
Right.
What advice would you give Melvin Gordon right now, Maurice?
Continue to stay in shape. I think the Chargers are going to wake up and understand that as Phillip Rivers gets older, he needs someone to garnish that 8-man box. Those receivers, as good as they are, remember they're going against one-on-one coverage on the outside. Talking with a lot of people just around when we went to Chargers-Rams camp, a lot of people are optimistic that hopefully they can try to get something done. But let's remember, they have depth because of Melvin Gordon, not they have depth without Melvin Gordon, right? So they need to make sure, and watching those practices, their running game wasn't that good. And so you want to make sure that you have your top-notch player there ready to go. It's important that happens. If that doesn't happen, I don't see the Chargers winning 8 games without Melvin Gordon, to be honest with you. That's 1,200 yards, double-digit touchdowns the last 3 years. Even when he's missing games, he's still giving you 1,210 to 12-plus touchdowns. Who's going to replace that?
Would you counsel him to still stay out, though, to literally withhold his services?
Oh, yeah, because, again, you performed, and we know how many guys have we seen in camp get hurt, right? And if you're going for a contract, you got to make sure that your number one, your first priority is to be healthy so that the team pays you. If you go out there and you get hurt in training camp, there's no way the team is going to pay you anyways. So all I can tell them is to, while you're out, train as hard as you can to be in the best shape possible so when you come back, you can, you'll have an impact on the game. But during training camp, I'm not going to go out there and risk injury when I know there's a situation where either, we could get something done or not. Now, I don't know how it's going to go into the season. I know Zeke is talking about he's not going to play the rest of the season and all those things, and that's his right and that's his choice to do that. But with Melvin Gordon, I mean, the Chargers are so close. You would think that they would try to get it done sooner than later because Austin Eckler, as good as he is, he's only as good as he is when he comes in and spells Melvin Gordon.
Well,
Justin Jackson.
Yeah, no. I know what you're saying, but Zeke is also on a team that's ready to win the Super Bowl. They're so close too, and we spent all last year at this time talking about Le'Veon Bell, who, unlike these two guys, wasn't under contract. And he just wasn't going to sign his franchise tender. He wanted something that the Steelers after mid-July couldn't give him, right? Because once you get past a certain point, you're not allowed to negotiate a long-term deal. And then when it all came down to it, Bell signed a contract that did not surpass Todd Gurley's. And we had Stephen Jones, the COO of the Cowboys, on yesterday, and he has absolutely pointed out, in the same way that when you wait to sign a player and the player's at a position that has now a new benchmark elsewhere set for a contract, you know you're going to have to surpass that. Conversely, it seems like Bell reset the market lower than Gurley, and that counts against Zeke. MJD.
Not really. I wouldn't say that. I would say you got to remember Todd Gurley signed his deal at 23, right? So it's different. Le'Veon signed his deal at 27. So age-wise, you're going to give more money to the younger player, obviously, in that situation. For me, when you talk about Ezekiel Elliott, and this is where I kind of get frustrated with people, because we'll pay quarterbacks who aren't worth their price, and we'll just say, well, he's a quarterback, we got to pay him. But when a running back, when your team is literally built around this one player, all of a sudden it's like, well, I don't know. So, for example, let's use the Cowboys. This was brought up to me yesterday, and it's a great point. Who's more important to the Cowboys, Ezekiel Elliott or Dak Prescott?
Oh, there's no question. Right.
Zeke, right?
I would say so, yes. I would say, although, if your backup quarterback may not be as good as Dak, but let's just keep going, though.
We'll do the exercise. Okay, so Zeke is looking for a contract from in the $13 to $15 million range. You're telling me that you're going to end up paying Dak $30 million, twice as much as Zeke, and you're not going to blink an eye at Dak, but you're going to blink an eye at Ezekiel Elliott? Like, that makes zero sense to me. Where does this make – in business, where does this make sense? If this player is a guy that helps you win games and does everything for you, and because we have stats to back it up, that when Zeke is playing, they win games. When Zeke is not playing, guess what? They don't win games. So you're going to argue and say, well, you know what? I'm gonna fight Ezekiel Elliott to give him what he's really worth to this organization, to this team. But I'm going to go ahead and hand this other money to someone else. And I'm not saying that Dak Prescott isn't worth the $30 million, but I know for sure that Zeke is worth 15. I know that because when he's on the field, you win games. When he's not on the field, like when he got suspended for 6 games, you lose games. And you don't make the playoffs. And you don't do these different things that you do when he's in. So when it comes down to it, you can't look at, Le'Veon Bell's situation, even though I can use his situation and say, well, Pittsburgh didn't have Le'Veon Bell, and when Le'Veon Bell was on the field, they won double-digit games every year. When he's not on the field, they go 8-7-1. So I don't know. Is he important? I don't know. But in these situations, when you talk about the running back position, like Melvin Gordon and Ezekiel Elliott and other players that will be coming out like Alvin Kamara in the near future, and some other players out there, Joe Mixon's another guy that should be looking to get paid. Teams know that you can't win without a running back that garnishes 8-man boxes, because you have to make it easy for your quarterback to help read coverages and help him out. But we'll pay some of these quarterbacks buku money, $30 million a year, this and that, and they're not worth it. But it's because the position, it's the market value for the position. That's a horrible excuse. If he's not worth $30 million, don't ruin your cap and your team for a kid that's not worth it. If you have a running back that's worth $15 million and he helps you win, you should pay him $15 million.
Man,
just like if you have
it's you and Marshall and Eric Dickerson, all you running backs, you sound the same. You're saying the same thing about the quarterbacks.
It's funny.
And all that.
I'm just honest, right? Like if your organization runs through the running back, pay him. It's real simple.
Yeah, amazing. You're the man, MJD. Are you calling the radio or TV? Or are you? I know you were at Siciliano. We saw you running up the hill and getting beat by Siciliano and Tiffany Blackman. We saw that.
Well, no. Well, hold on, Rich. Tiffany Blackman almost hurt me first and foremost because she pushed me. She pushed me.
Whoa.
Okay. I haven't I'm not.
We're not seeing any contact. Zero contact. There were no flags thrown. No. No, I'm looking at the video that was on Instagram right here where you see it. No.
Yeah, she tried to push me. You got to see the other view. You have to see the other view. That view is a bad one. I got to get the other view for you. Pushed me at the end. Almost hurt me.
Quite the accusation.
I don't know. You could have fit Siciliano in between the two of you. That's how far apart you were.
Oh my! There's
MJD?
no. First, it was. I was set up because I ran up the hill. Let me break this down to the people first.
Sure.
I had ran up the hill twice before that already, and then they wanted to come down and do it a third time.
That's tough.
I was a little winded.
I bet.
I gotta get back.
The lactic acid was flowing, I'm sure.
Oh, it was built up. It was unreal.
Good chatting with you, MJD. I hope to see you soon, pal. Have a good
All right, Rich.
weekend.
I'll see you soon.
You got it. That's at MJD on Twitter. Maurice Jones-Drew.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download the Rich Eisen Show app.